The Real Rat Pack. 5 men went on stage to perform at the Sands Copa Room on January 20th, 1960, and they would come to be known as the Rat Pack. But they were not the real Rat Pack. In the 1950s, Hollywood power couple Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall hosted late-night parties in their Holmby Hills home above Beverly Hills with their Hollywood friends. Unless they were throwing a great big do, they hosted their guests in a cozy library, the Butternut Room, featuring well-stocked bookcases and a better-stocked bar. In the spring of 1955, Frank Sinatra organized a trip to Las Vegas to see Noel Coward's opening at the Desert Inn with some of his Hollywood friends, including Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart, Angie Dickinson, and Judy Garland. There are multiple versions of how the Rat Pack name was created, but according to Stephen Bogart, who is the son of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, towards the end of the weekend in Las Vegas, Lauren Bacall walked in on the group of friends after multiple days of partying and said, "You look like a goddamn rat pack." Another version, according to UNLV historian Michael Green, is that a night of carousing ended back at the home Lauren Bacall shared with husband Humphrey Bogart. She looked at her friends in various stages of inebriation and mood alteration and said, "You look like a pack of rats." The name stuck, and the group of Hollywood friends called themselves the Holmby Hills Rat Pack. Bogart hated the Hollywood studio system because a handful of executives controlled who worked on what film projects. Humphrey Bogart and Frank Sinatra both wanted more control over their careers. According to Lauren Bacall, in order to qualify as a Rat Pack member, one had to be addicted to nonconformity, staying up late, drinking, laughing, and not caring what anyone thought or said about us. We held a dinner in a private room at Romanoff's restaurant to elect officials and draw up rules. Bogey's way of thumbing his nose at Hollywood. Romanoff's was a Beverly Hills restaurant for the Hollywood elite to see and be seen in the 1940s and 50s. Paramount Studios hosted a Welcome to Hollywood party for the new bombshell Italian actress Sophia Loren at Romanoff's in 1957. The party included the infamous side-eyed photo of Sophia Loren looking at Jane Mansfield. The New York Herald Tribune reported that the Holmby Hills Rat Pack had elected the following officers for the group. Even though Frank Sinatra was elected as the packmaster, Humphrey Bogart was the leader and in charge of public relations. Bogart came up with the group's motto, "Never rat on a rat," and he also came up with a coat of arms that featured a rat gnawing on a human hand. The Holmby Hills Rat Pack members wore gold rat pins with rubies for eyes. Bogart told the New York Herald Tribune that the purpose of the Rat Pack was the relief of boredom and the perpetuation of independence. "We admire ourselves and don't care for anyone else." Stephen Bogart wrote, "Another seeming contradiction is that he was a guy who supposedly wanted nothing to do with Hollywood in-groups, and yet he was the leader of the most in-group of all, the Holmby Hills Rat Pack." Some of the original members included the biggest names in Hollywood, like Nat King Cole, Ava Gardner, Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, Lena Horne, Jerry Lewis, Elizabeth Taylor, and Spencer Tracy. Some people in Hollywood were known as the Rat Pack mascots, including Angie Dickinson, Shirley MacLaine, and Marilyn Monroe. Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. were not members of the Holmby Hills Rat Pack, but they did hang out with the group. In 1957, Humphrey Bogart died, and Frank Sinatra became the leader while also dating Lauren Bacall. In the late 1950s, Frank Sinatra bought the filming rights to Ocean's 11 from British actor Peter Lawford. Sinatra shared the film profits with Lawford and gave Peter the lead actor role. Frank chose his singing buddies Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. and added comedian Joey Bishop to the Ocean's 11 cast. Sands public relations director Al Freeman came up with the idea to put all 5 men together on the Copa Room stage at night while they were filming Ocean's 11 during the day at the Sands, Desert Inn, Flamingo, Riviera, and Sahara. The musical comedies in the Copa Room would be called The Summit at the Sands, and one name for the group would be The Summit. The first night was on January 20th, 1960, but there was no Ocean's 11 filming that day. The Los Angeles Mirror News Society page reported on May 3rd, 1960, that the best publicized of all social cliques in Hollywood is Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack. Sinatra's crowd is not so chichi or so smart or even so non-conforming as it once was. Frank inherited the Rat Pack from the late Humphrey Bogart, the Lord High Commissioner of the original Klan. Numbered among its exalted initiates are Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Shirley MacLaine, Judy Garland, and the Peter Lawfords. All of them are unique in the extreme and are not to be confused with ordinary people. Their stock in trade is a total lack of reverence for the prosaic. In June 1960, Playboy magazine mentioned the Klan name, saying, "The Klan, as they've been dubbed by others, possess talent, charm, romance, and a devil-may-care nonconformity that gives them immense popular appeal. So much so that today they sit at the very top of the Hollywood star system, with Sinatra king of the hill." The Daily Variety reported on August 25th, 1960, that Frank Sinatra wants out from under that Klan tag used as a description, mostly by columnists. Sinatra said, "As far as I know, the various guilds that are part of any professional life are the only organized groups to which I belong. The Klan is a figment of someone's imagination. Naturally, people in Hollywood socialize with friends as they do in any community, but we do not gather in childish fraternities as some people would like to think." Life magazine coined the phrase, "the Klan," in an article, and it stuck with everyone except the people who are supposed to belong to it. There is no such entity as the Klan, and there never has been. But 5 years later, in 1965, Walter Cronkite referred to the group as the Klan.
The press also jumped on him for the campaign help he gave his friend John F. Kennedy. Some claim Sinatra and what was called the Klan was too involved, had imposed themselves on the Kennedys.
It wasn't until the 1980s that the public and press started calling Frank, Dean, and Sammy the Rat Pack, and Sinatra did not like that name either.
You three guys, sometimes called the Rat Pack. How do you feel about the term now that it's been a few years since it was first applied, and how did it come about?
Oh, that's the end of the question. Was it's a good point. I was going to bring that up, by the way, before anybody used that stupid phrase again.
It's now...
The Rat Pack was made of Humphrey Bogart, who started it all, and several other people who lived in the small area here in Beverly Hills. And they decided that they would be called the Rat Pack. And then one day somewhere, Sammy opened his big mouth that we were members of the Rat Pack, and that's what happened. That's really what started the whole thing. We've never discussed a term for the three of us.
And now it's a little mice track. Nothing at all. It's just three guys together, and Shirley MacLaine was with us. She was the only rat we knew.
You guys don't feel that the term really does apply to you?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
When you ask a question, you always look at him. What the hell's the matter with me, huh? Don't I look good?
You look great.
Do I look bad?
For this hour of the morning, you look fairly good.
The 1987 tour was called Together Again, and at that press conference, Sinatra did not even mention that he was a member or eventual leader of the Holmby Hills Rat Pack.